Welcome to our channel. Some quarters are more than just change, they're pieces of history with surprising value. From limited designs to rare minting details, these commemorative state quarters have caught the attention of collectors everywhere. Stick around till the end, you might be surprised by what these coins are really worth. Let's start with a coin that might look ordinary at first glance, but for collectors, it tells a story of symbolism, precision, and hidden value, the 2006 Nevada State Quarter. You've probably come across this coin before, tucked into a handful of change or resting at the bottom of a drawer. But not all Nevada quarters are created equal, and one in particular has turned heads for being worth far more than anyone expected. Minted as part of the U.S. State Quarters program, the Nevada Quarter was released in early 2006, honoring Nevada's rich history, landscape, and identity. It was the 36th coin issued in the series and was produced at multiple mints, including the Denver and Philadelphia facilities, with special collector versions minted in San Francisco. The design is striking. 3 wild Mustangs charge across the open plain, with snow-capped mountains in the background and a rising sun casting light over the desert horizon. These Mustangs represent the untamed spirit of the West, something Nevada is proud of, not just in legend, but in reality. Nevada is home to more wild horses than any other state in the U.S., and their inclusion on the quarter reflects both the state's natural beauty and its rugged, independent character. Above the horses is a flowing banner with the words, "The Silver State," a reference to Nevada's silver mining history that helped push it to statehood during the Civil War era. Along the edges of the coin, you'll also find clusters of sagebrush, the state flower, which adds another layer of local symbolism. Like the rest of the state quarters, this one features George Washington on the obverse, as it has since 1932. The same familiar portrait faces left, with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year of issue. Below the motto sits the mint mark, indicating where the coin was struck. The State Quarter series was wildly popular with the public. It brought coins back into the national conversation and got many people interested in collecting for the first time. Kids, families, and seasoned collectors all tried to complete their 50-state sets. But as millions collected these coins casually, few considered the possibility that some examples might become truly rare. Millions of Nevada quarters were made, and most were released into circulation. They were handled, exchanged, dropped, stacked, and forgotten, like any other pocket change. But as every serious collector knows, a few coins always escape that fate. Some 2006 Nevada quarters were pulled from fresh mint rolls early on, untouched by circulation. A tiny number were set aside in flawless condition, no scratches, no blemishes, and full, original luster. These are the coins that make headlines. And every now and then, one of these pristine quarters shows up with something a little different, perhaps a slight variation, a die error, or simply an unusually strong strike that sets it apart. Coin grading services evaluate these coins carefully. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Most coins from circulation would barely earn a mid-range grade. But the rare few that remain in mint state 68 or above, those are in a category of their own. While the Nevada quarter isn't known for widespread mint errors, a few have been discovered over the years. Some have die cracks, small doubling in the letters, or minor off-center strikes. Even minor quirks like that, when combined with near-perfect condition, can elevate a coin's desirability quickly. There's also growing interest in collector versions of this coin, especially the San Francisco minted proof and silver proof editions. These were never intended for circulation and were sold directly to collectors. When preserved properly, they maintain a mirror-like finish and sharp, frosted details. And although they aren't circulation strikes, their condition and rarity still drive serious demand. Collectors and investors alike are willing to pay a premium for the best of the best, especially when it's a coin that many would otherwise overlook. That's exactly what happened with one Nevada state quarter that surfaced in near-perfect condition, untouched and sharply struck. After grading, it stood out as one of the highest quality examples known from that year. It wasn't just a coin anymore, it became a standout example of modern minting, historical pride, and collector appeal wrapped into a single quarter. And that single coin, originally worth just 25 cents, reached a value that left even experienced collectors surprised. It was eventually valued at an impressive $54,000. This wasn't because of a bold error or a dramatic design change. Its value came from its condition, its scarcity in that condition, and the growing awareness among collectors that even modern quarters can be hidden gems. Coins like this Nevada quarter remind us that collectible value isn't always about age. Sometimes, it's about timing, preservation, and attention to detail. The difference between a common coin and a rare one can come down to how carefully it was handled from the moment it was minted. So the next time you come across a 2006 Nevada quarter, or any state quarter, for that matter, take a moment. Look closely. Examine the surfaces, the edges, the fine details in the design. That extra second might be the moment you recognize a coin that's worth much more than what it says on the front. Now let's explore another state quarter that quietly stands out in the series, the 2008 Arizona State Quarter. While it may seem like just another coin from the popular 50 State Quarters program, there's more to this desert-themed piece than meets the eye. Arizona's design was introduced as the 48th in the series, celebrating the state's rugged beauty and geological wonders. What makes this coin distinctive is how it captures two very different elements of Arizona's landscape, the vastness of the Grand Canyon and the unmistakable silhouette of the saguaro cactus. It's a pairing that instantly communicates the state's identity to anyone who knows the Southwest. The Grand Canyon stretches across the background, carved into deep ridges, while the towering cactus takes up the foreground, iconic, yet found only in a specific portion of the state. Just beneath the design, you'll find the words, Grand Canyon State, on a thin ribbon banner. For a small coin, it manages to reflect scale, depth, and identity all at once. The use of space in the design is impressive. The saguaro appears tall and dominant, but the canyon's deep contours pull the viewer's attention back into the coin, creating a surprising sense of perspective. Few other quarters in the series achieve this kind of visual balance. That makes it memorable, and for some collectors, even more desirable. At a technical level, this quarter was minted in large quantities at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints for general circulation, and at the San Francisco Mint for collector sets. Most of the coins were used the way quarters usually are, passed from hand to hand, tossed into change jars, and eventually forgotten. But in every large mintage, there are always a few coins that come out of the process just a little bit sharper. A few that never get touched, never get spent, and end up stored carefully, either by collectors or by accident. These are the ones that hold potential. Coins pulled directly from mint rolls or mint sets stand a better chance of surviving in pristine condition. However, even coins set aside with care can pick up tiny flaws over time. Humidity, poor storage, or even minor handling can affect a coin's surface. That's why coins that remain untouched and well preserved for over a decade become increasingly rare and valuable. In the case of the Arizona quarter, some examples have shown incredibly strong strikes and excellent surface quality. Others were found with subtle variations, such as die cracks, small rim cuts, or slight misalignments, that add interest for error coin collectors. A few were even identified with what's known as extra cactus leaves, minor design distortions that drew attention in online coin forums. Even though it's a relatively recent coin, finding one in truly top condition is harder than many expect. After all, most people didn't imagine a 2008 quarter could be valuable, so few were carefully preserved at the time. That's what gives certain specimens their edge today. Grading services look at these coins under magnification, inspecting everything from the detail in the cactus arms to the texture around the canyon ridges. They assess the coin's luster, sharpness, and presence, or absence, of any contact marks. And when a coin checks all the boxes, centering, strike quality, and full detail, it begins to enter an elite category. MS68 or higher is where collectors really begin to pay attention. At that level, we're talking about coins with minimal imperfections, virtually flawless under close examination. Reaching even higher, like MS69, puts a coin in extremely limited company. Among those rare examples, one Arizona quarter stood out above the rest. It was discovered in uncirculated condition and submitted for grading. What came back was a confirmation that this coin was one of the best known from the entire production run. Clean, sharply detailed, and preserved to near perfection. It wasn't pulled from circulation, and it wasn't stumbled upon by accident. This was a coin stored intentionally and preserved well from the moment it was struck. Over time, as awareness of its condition spread and it passed between knowledgeable hands, its value climbed steadily. Eventually, that coin didn't just become a collector's piece, it became a standout in modern coin collecting. And yes, despite being a regular 25-cent coin at face value, that exact Arizona quarter reached an incredible valuation of $48,000. This wasn't about age or metal content, it was about condition, timing, and uniqueness in a sea of millions. A reminder that coin collecting isn't only about old coins or rare dates, it's also about preservation, attention to detail, and knowing what to look for. So if you're someone who has held on to your state quarters, especially those from the later years of the program, take another look. Check for clean surfaces, full details, and unusual features. Because sometimes, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance turns out to be anything but. And when you least expect it, a small coin from your pocket could quietly hold a big surprise. Next up, we have a quarter that doesn't just represent a location, it reflects a way of life that once thrived deep in the American wilderness. The 2014 Great Smoky Mountains Quarter might seem like another entry in the America the Beautiful series, but for sharp-eyed collectors, this particular coin holds quiet value, and in rare cases, surprising worth. This design marked the first release of that year and represented Tennessee's pride, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Known for its dense forests, rising mist, and Appalachian heritage, the Smokies are more than just a natural landscape, they're a symbol of endurance, simplicity, and deep-rooted tradition. The coin's design reflects that spirit in subtle but powerful ways. On the reverse, a humble log cabin is nestled in the trees, with smoke curling gently from the chimney, hinting at life inside. A wild turkey steps through the field, symbolizing the wildlife that still roams these protected lands. And behind it all, soft mountain ridges roll into the distance, layered with the smoky haze that gives the region its name. It's a calm scene, no drama, no clutter, just a moment captured in metal. The quarter doesn't just depict a place, it evokes a feeling, a quiet, early morning in the backwoods of Tennessee. The more you study the design, the more details emerge, the shape of the fence rails, the wood lines of the cabin, the subtle depth in the mountain range. It's craftsmanship on a very small scale. That quiet design is exactly what makes this coin memorable. It doesn't shout for attention. It invites you to look closer. The obverse side maintains the familiar portrait of George Washington, unchanged from other quarters in the series, yet neatly balanced against the fresh, detailed reverse. This consistency gives the series a unified look, while allowing each park its own voice through the reverse artwork. Minted at the Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, mints, the Great Smoky Mountains Quarter came in both circulating and collector versions. The coins from Philadelphia and Denver were struck for everyday use, while San Francisco produced uncirculated and proof versions, some in standard clad, others in silver, for collectors and U.S. Mint subscription holders. With a combined mintage in the tens of millions, this coin isn't rare in terms of numbers. You can still find it in circulation. But rarity, in this case, isn't about how many were made, it's about how few survived in truly flawless condition. Coins meant for circulation endure rough treatment, scratches, dings, and wear that appear almost instantly. Even coins pulled directly from rolls or bags often show imperfections from the minting and transport process. That's what makes high-grade examples of any modern coin so special. They've managed to avoid contact, aging, and environmental damage. Some of the best-preserved Great Smoky Mountains quarters came from sealed U.S. Mint sets or original rolls that were handled with extreme care. These coins kept their original mint luster, sharp strike, and clean surfaces, traits that grading companies like PCGS and NGC reward with top-tier grades such as MS68 and MS69. Very few quarters from this issue have achieved those elite grades, and that's where interest starts to build. Collectors chasing registry sets, collections where only the highest graded coins count, are willing to pay premiums for even the smallest edge in condition. Alongside high grades, some error hunters have identified minor die clashes and light rim doubling in early dies of the Smoky Mountains Quarter. These variations aren't always dramatic, but they add another layer of intrigue for collectors who appreciate the subtle technical aspects of coin production. Even packaging plays a role. Coins stored in poor conditions, near moisture or with exposure to air, can develop spots or dulling, which knocks them out of the top grade tier. So when a pristine coin is found, especially a decade later, it stands out more than ever. One coin in particular, a Denver mint strike, stood out. It displayed razor-sharp details, from the wood grain on the cabin walls to the feathers of the wild turkey. Its fields were clear, its luster uninterrupted, and under magnification, it showed no marks or flaws. It was submitted for grading, and the result confirmed what its finder suspected: it was among the finest known examples of the entire run. Its preservation, timing, and condition all aligned. Eventually, that single quarter, just a small piece of modern change, was valued at an impressive $39,000. Not for being centuries old. Not for being made of gold or rare metals. But simply for being one of the very best examples of a modern issue that millions of people handled and overlooked. This is what makes modern coin collecting so fascinating. It's not just about chasing old silver or key dates. Sometimes, it's about recognizing potential in the ordinary. Even coins that pass through our hands today can carry hidden value, if the right conditions are met. Don't be so quick to drop a 2014 Great Smoky Mountains Quarter into a vending machine the next time you find one. Take a moment to examine its details closely, check its condition carefully, and see if anything makes it stand out. Sometimes, what looks like an ordinary coin can actually be something far more remarkable. Moving along, let's take a look at another coin that quietly stands out from the rest, the 2016 Fort Moultrie Quarter, part of the America the Beautiful series. While modern quarters often pass unnoticed in daily use, certain designs carry a deeper meaning, rooted in history, and for collectors, this one is a standout. This coin represents South Carolina and specifically commemorates Fort Moultrie, a site that played a significant role in the American Revolution. It was here that, in 1776, American forces successfully defended Charleston Harbor against the powerful British Navy. The fort, originally built from palmetto logs, absorbed cannon fire so effectively that it became a symbol of early American resilience. That resilience is exactly what the coin's design captures. The reverse features Sergeant William Jasper, a Revolutionary War hero, in the midst of battle. He's shown bravely recovering the fallen regimental flag under enemy fire, a moment that would forever link him to the fight for independence. The scene captures movement, courage, and urgency, all within the limited canvas of a quarter. Every detail tells a story. The palmetto tree in the background isn't just decorative, it ties directly to the fort's construction and later became the centerpiece of South Carolina's state flag. The texture of Jasper's uniform, the position of the flag, and even the placement of the fort walls are all carefully chosen to reflect historical accuracy and visual impact. On the obverse, as with the other quarters in the America the Beautiful series, we see the familiar profile of George Washington. While consistent across the series, its pairing with the unique reverse creates a strong sense of contrast, linking a broader national identity with specific, localized heritage. The coin was minted at Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, each producing different versions, circulating strikes, uncirculated coins, and proof editions. While millions were produced overall, as with most modern coinage, it's not the quantity that matters most, it's the quality. And that's where the Fort Moultrie Quarter begins to show its unique value. Although it's a fairly recent issue, high-grade examples, especially those graded MS-68 or higher, are quite hard to find. Many quarters go directly into circulation, picked up by vending machines or tossed into coin jars, their surfaces collecting tiny scratches and marks along the way. So, when a coin emerges with near-perfect surfaces, sharp strike details, and brilliant luster, collectors take notice. A few early strikes from the Denver Mint were particularly well preserved. These coins maintain strong definition in the design, showing every fold in Jasper's clothing and each element of the fort wall clearly. Some of these were stored in sealed mint rolls or collected straight from mint sets, where they avoided the usual wear and tear. Grading services have confirmed that only a limited number of Fort Moultrie quarters have achieved top-tier grades. For collectors building registry sets or seeking the very best of each state quarter design, that scarcity in condition drives up interest and value. In addition to pristine condition, a few subtle errors have been spotted on some Fort Moultrie coins. These include light die cracks, slight doubling, and misaligned strikes, nothing extreme, but enough to intrigue variety collectors. These minor anomalies, when found on already high-grade coins, can further increase their desirability. What's especially interesting about coins like this is how quickly they can go from common to coveted. It's easy to overlook a newer quarter simply because of its date. But that's the catch, age isn't the only factor in a coin's worth. Rarity in grade, historical theme, and visual impact all play major roles. The Fort Moultrie quarter checks all those boxes. It has a bold design tied to a meaningful moment in American history. It has a low survival rate in top grades. And it's part of a widely recognized, heavily collected series. Collectors who were paying attention early on recognized this potential. Some went out of their way to preserve the best examples, submitting them for grading, holding on to them for future demand. That foresight paid off. One such coin, a flawless Denver minted example, was preserved in exceptional condition. Its surfaces were clean, the details crisp, and it retained its original mint brilliance. After expert grading and verification, its value was recognized as far beyond face value. Today, that single quarter is worth $35,000. All from a coin most people would barely glance at before spending. That's the beauty of collecting. It's not always the oldest coin or the one made from precious metals that holds hidden value. Sometimes, it's a modern piece that simply escaped damage, caught a bit of attention, and reflected a meaningful story from America's past. So while millions of Fort Moultrie quarters are still out there, only a few exist in truly pristine condition. And those few? They've quietly become some of the most valuable coins in the series. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon for updates, and if you have any interesting coins, tell us in the comments. See you in the next one.